that originally we never had a Sanskrit was never written, because it was considered as a sin to write it down on a paper. So it mostly used to be transmitted between guru and disciple for almost like I would say as far as Chandragupta Maurya, Ashoka's dynasty time. And it was not called Sanskrit at that time. It was had a different name. I'll show you how it got evolved over a period of time. And so as you can see here, um, um, so this is the version of what we have as of 300 BC. That's morely, you can mostly see them in the Indus Valley civilization. They found some they used to call it as a hieroglyphics, I believe. So they're mostly signs. You can't really make sense out of it, but they were able to match that to the Sanskrit and see the progress over a period of centuries and millenniums. And this is one of the attempts that they made, where they saw these scripts here back in around 300 BC, and they saw this all the inscriptions on rocks, and they slowly kind of able to match it to the Ashoka. So Ashoka is when it began developing one script. And before that, we have what you call as a Prakrit. Prakrit is a language. It was more natural. It is not as sophisticated as Sanskrit. But Sanskrit was already have been discovered long time back. It was just that they were not, it evolved later on, they say, and Prakrit was even more before Sanskrit. And Prakrit means natural, so they're more natural than Sanskrit is like it means well done. It's more it's God's language, but it came after the Prakrit, and it was considered to be the more properly structured with everything logical structure. So it came eventually. And so other one is that you can see the evolution of the Brahmi script. If you compare, this is something is what they call as the Brahmi script. And you can see how it went from like, for example, let's take example as A. And you see the Devanagari, normally what I showed earlier, which is A, right? So this is how the A is. But if you see the older versions, they typically denote it as this version of A, where you can see like it has kind of Pa, and then it's a little bit more complicated than the regular simple A. So and you can see this page, they show how the regular alphabet and comparison between the Devanagari and English that went, this is they say a lot of these are there. And this is our Indian or Vedic civilization's progress. And other ones is Arabic and Roman, how that evolved from the Phoenician. So this was quite impressive how it evolved over a period of time. And so what I was trying to highlight here is that script came lot way behind in the time, almost like recently, like maybe 2 or 3 millenniums. So before that, it always used to be only orally, and the guru disciple has always maintained the power of memory to transmit to the disciple and keep the lineage active. But because of the invasions and other kingdoms occupying, they eventually had no option but to start writing them so that the posterity can have that. So that's where the Devanagari in current form, what we are reading, exists. And also when you see actual palm scripts in Sanskrit, they are not as organized as what you are seeing in my books or outside what you see. They're not that easily broken, like each word and each line, each letters, they are not that legible. They normally have there's literally no full stop, no comma. If you take a palm leaf, it starts from top left and goes till on the bottom right. It just goes like one sequence of lines. It's like, and you have to know what chandas is in order to make some sense out of it, the words and everything. And chandas was so important that the Sanskrit name came later. It actually used to be called Chandas. The language itself was called Chandas because everything is depending upon rhythm. So without rhythm, there is no existence for Sanskrit. So it was later on, it came to existence that it's called Sanskrit because the name was called, Sam is like well and Krit is done. So that sticked on the name for quite some time until now and in the future too. So, and that's a little background about the script of, and Lipi is also means script. That's why I'm using words Lipi in more often.